Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Friday, August 29th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
A pair of bouquets near the Mahogany Beach Club for two young lives lost in a tragic drowning.
It's sad for anybody, it's sad for anyone, but they're just, well, yeah, I guess I'd, probably tear up at anybody. They had their whole lives.
Around 5 p.m. Wednesday, witnesses saw someone go under the water near the dock and fail to resurface.
There was a couple of us, we asked them where the fellow went down, and they pointed to where they went down. So there was me and 2 or 3 other people. We dove in, and we dove quite a few times around the area and, and tried to find something, and we couldn't find anything.
All 3 of the Calgary Fire Department's aquatic rescue teams responded, along with volunteer divers, police, and paramedics.
They eventually did use other devices as well, including sonar and cameras, underwater cameras. They also used surveillance cameras from the Mahogany area to determine that there was indeed somebody that had gone missing in that area.
Search crews initially thought just one person had gone under. Then police discovered a second man was also missing. The bodies of 2 20-year-old men were located and retrieved late Wednesday.
These are people's children, and I have children that play at this lake a lot, and all I'm trying to do is find them and just hopefully I'm in time.
The area of the lake where they were discovered is between 3 and 4 meters deep. Police say there's nothing suspicious about the situation, calling it a tragic incident.
It's always so devastating to hear about any of these incidents. I think emotionally for a lot of people, it's even harder when it isn't a circumstance like this, when there are people around. I think the main message that I get from an instance like this is that it really can happen to anyone.
Really devastated for the community, for the families, and hope that everybody reaches out and can help them in this time.
Now, this is not the first time tragedy has struck here at Mahogany Lake. 2 young girls have drowned here at the lake, one in 2021, the other in 2013. A statement from the Mahogany Homeowners Association says it holds family and friends of the victims close to their heart. Tara?
Okay, Jordan, thank you.
Rebecca Taylor is the woman who denounced 3 basketball coaches in 2022 that she claims put her through physical and psychological abuse. It allegedly took place while she studied at the École Secondaire Saint-Laurent. Charles-Xavier Boilard has already pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation. Daniel Lacasse was acquitted of similar charges. A 3rd coach, who was not charged, has been named in a lawsuit. Taylor is suing all 3 former coaches and the Marguerite Bourgeois School Center for $3 million. The lawsuit claims the coaches controlled her on the basketball court, but also in her personal life. The 3 defendants were authority figures and manipulated the plaintiff to reach their goal, which was to undermine the victim so she would no longer see she was being abused. Taylor also accuses the Marguerite Bourgeois School Service Center of willful blindness, negligence, and casualness while failing in its mission to care and protect youths in its care. The events allegedly took place between 2006 and 2012 when the teenager was part of the school's elite sports program. Taylor, who's now 31, says the trauma has led her to failure in studies and professional life. In a statement to CTV News, she writes, "As a young black woman, I was abandoned by a system that was supposed to protect me. The power placed in the hands of my former coaches was used against me." The Marguerite Bourgeois School Service Center would not comment on a lawsuit, but in a statement said, "These alleged events have shaken our community. We're taking this very seriously and corrective measures are already in place. Authorities can count on our full cooperation. There is no trial date set yet, and none of these allegations have been proven in court. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
A giant sinkhole has opened up at Coxwell and Cosburn. The pavement turned into broken slabs, now at the bottom of a pit with underground pipes exposed.
It's absolutely insane.
The problem started, the city says, Wednesday night with a broken water main.
That's crazy, and it's like coming out of the sidewalk like oil.
The water flooded the street, damaged the pavement, and created the sinkhole, shutting down the East York intersection. Evelyn Ruiz was shocked to see all the water and says she called 311 shortly after 10. Still, the water eventually seeped into her and her neighbors' basements, making a mess.
We're absolutely terrified and horrified to see this in our house again, water back in our house again.
This morning, get up, my wife's like, you got to see the basement. And so there's like a layer of mud about 2 centimeters thick.
The city says there wasn't a water main break at the intersection in July. Instead, it was a valve repair unrelated to the situation now. With respect to the sinkhole, the city says emergency crews initially responded to a smaller water main break with some water running into a catch basin. But it became more severe throughout the night, prompting crews to shut off the water to prevent further damage. Some residents feel the flooding could have been prevented.
They had a water main break just across the street that they repaired in July, and now they're back, right? So it is a little frustrating, and the response time is not all that great. I mean, somebody called at 10 p.m. to report the problem, and it took until like around 4 a.m. to have the water shut off. That's a long time.
I noticed when we were here for the Canada Day parade, the East York Canada Day parade on July 1st, there was leaking water. So when we saw the sinkhole this morning, it wasn't really much of a surprise because it's been going on for a while.
The city says teams worked through the night to do repairs and support residents. The intersection is expected to reopen Monday. The city says 4 basement floods have now been reported. It says there is a program to rehabilitate and replace aging water mains, which has really helped, but unexpected repairs are necessary sometimes. The city says it understands how disruptive this has all been to people living and working in the area and is asking everyone for their patience and understanding. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell, Michelle and Nathan. Back to you.
Thank you, Beth.
We're not going to stop fighting until we see these changes implemented.
A grieving family is demanding changes to the justice system.
It will protect lives. And we don't want to see anybody else go through what our family is going through.
32-year-old Bailey McCourt was killed on July 4th in broad daylight in a Kelowna parking lot. The mother of 2 was beaten to death by a hammer. Her friend was also attacked and left with injuries. McCourt's estranged husband, James Plover, is charged with second-degree murder. Earlier that day, he'd been convicted of uttering threats and assault by choking in a domestic violence case, but wasn't held in custody pending his sentencing. McCourt's aunt says her death was preventable.
This is what Bailey would want, and you know, we need to keep people like her sisters and daughters safe in the future.
They want to see legislative reform called Bailey's Law that includes GPS monitoring and a registry of convicted domestic offenders, first-degree murder charges for domestic homicide, and risk assessment tools for those likely to reoffend. They also want to see stricter domestic violence bail laws.
A no-contact order, a piece of paper, isn't enough to keep people safe.
The family has sent their plea to the Prime Minister. BC's Attorney General says she's reviewing them and already pushed Ottawa for bail reform that addresses certain crimes that often escalate.
I've asked for specific changes to the criminal code related to the choking and suffocation and those types of intrapartner violence that the evidence shows can lead to serious harm and death.
McCourt's family says the changes are critical to fix a broken system that's left 2 little girls without a mother and a community desperate to find meaning in her senseless death.
Bailey was very kind, very compassionate, a loving person, and she would want to see something positive come out of this horrific situation.
Diageo is not just Amherstburg's largest employer. It represents far more to this shoreline town of about 25,000.
You have generations of families that have worked there. Amherstburg's wrapped their arms around that facility.
Inside, crews bottle and package Crown Royal, filling, capping, and case packing before finished cases ship to distributors in Canada and the U.S. Come February, the doors are closing on this nearly 100-year-old facility, putting 160 people out of a job.
To be quite frank with you, I was pissed off. I made it clear to the company that they have a fight on their hands because it was basically reading me a letter with no details, just saying it was a business decision.
In a statement, the company says it's part of a plan to streamline its North American supply chain, shifting some bottling closer to U.S. consumers, while Crown Royal's mashing, distilling, and aging remain in Canada. For this community, the shutdown raises difficult questions about what Amherstburg looks like without its largest employer.
I've asked the CAO and the treasurer to look at the economic impact that is going to have on Amherstburg.
Amherstburg Mayor Michael Prue says he plans on reaching out to Invest Windsor-Essex to see if anyone would be interested in taking over this massive facility.
Without the jobs, we become a bedroom community, and I, as mayor, do not want that. We're trying to increase our commercial industrial base. We've been very successful in the last year. This is a major blow.
Diageo says Crown Royal whiskey destined for Canada and non-U.S. export markets will continue to be bottled in Canada, but at the company's facility in Valleyfield, Quebec. As for the union, officials say they are coordinating efforts with Unifor leadership to develop a strategy to try and keep the plant open. Today's news in Amherstburg comes on the heels of disappointment in Sarnia-Lambton. Back in 2022, the company announced plans for a carbon-neutral Crown Royal distillery near Sarnia. It was supposed to employ 100 people, but then this past November, the company announced they were pausing that $245 million project with no reason provided. And when it comes to the Amherstburg shutdown, company officials say they work alongside Unifor. They will work alongside Unifor to assist its unionized staff. The company adds it will also engage with the community in the coming weeks to, quote, find meaningful ways to provide support through this transition. Stephanie.
A frustrating time. Okay, Sanjay Maru, thank you for this tonight.
Some in the peaceful community of Pointe-aux-Chenes are still shocked about an arrest made here this week. After receiving a tip from the public, a 58-year-old man was taken into custody Tuesday and charged with several offenses, including impersonating a police officer.
Well, surprise and shock, both of them. It's never even thought that could happen here in the neighborhood.
RCMP seized firearms, police uniforms, a Ford Taurus, radios, lights, sirens, and other items. Police believe the man was intending to commit criminal offenses.
Members of the community know their communities better than anyone, and if something isn't right, you should come forward to the authorities, and in this case, we possibly prevented a catastrophe.
Most people I spoke with here today at the summer vacation community say they were shocked to hear the news, including a couple from Nova Scotia who told me it hits just a little too close to home for them. In April of 2020, a gunman disguised as a Mountie killed 22 people in the community of Portapique and elsewhere across Nova Scotia.
And coming up here, hearing about this yesterday in the news here, vaguely something's going on Redwood Avenue, and now discovering what happened is really, it's really scary.
Yeah.
A public safety analyst says tracking down where the police items came from might not be easy.
So whether or not they're available kind of in the black market, so to speak, or you can make them, it's really difficult to deal with that as a police organization.
The equipment that we do possess in the RCMP is always handled with utmost care, and we make sure that they're disposed of in an appropriate way.
Daniel Downey has been remanded into custody and is scheduled to make a second court appearance tomorrow. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Pointe-aux-Chenes, New Brunswick.
Rush hour time, it's backed up past Winterburn.
sometimes. So
how would you even get around, for goodness sake?
Well, that's the thing, June.
Yeah.
People who live and work in Lewis Estates say traffic troubles are a part of life.
Every day's an adventure.
The neighborhood has a number of single-lane arterial roads that have become busier as the years have gone by.
People can be stuck in traffic for half hour, 45 minutes for what should be a 5-minute drive.
Area Councillor Andrew Knack has created an amendment that would reallocate already earmarked dollars for different West End roads to add lanes to 3 sections designated as particularly troublesome. Winterburn Road southbound from 100th Avenue to 92nd Avenue, westbound on the Whitemud from Lewis Estates Boulevard to east of 215th Street, and a second westbound lane on part of Weber Greens Drive.
A legitimate, real issue that is being faced by folks in the communities outside the Henday. How do you say no to something like that?
Anybody who drives to the West End can feel it. You can feel the unbearable traffic.
River Cree CEO Vic Mahajan says Enoch Cree Nation supports the upgrade. Many of the roads in question border its land, and he says the extra lanes will ease traffic to and from Enoch and the casino. He says Enoch leadership is contributing a third of the cost of the Whitemud expansion. The province and the city will pay the rest. Mahajan says the improvement will benefit anyone who finds themselves in the West End.
No one wants to be sitting in their car majority of the day or a certain portion of the day. So it just gives better access to the city and the residents of the city to use some of those facilities that we are building.
Relief on the horizon for drivers, with sympathies extended from those who don't.
I just stay in my little house. That's it.
Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
It's not the same as just walking out the door in your indoor shoes and using the toilets in the school.
Allison Smedley's child just started senior kindergarten at Louise Arbor Elementary School. Something she wasn't expecting, her child may be using a bathroom outside the school.
My child started at the school last year. I was disappointed to come in and find that really the school board wasn't investing in making the space work for the students.
It's kind of not fun when it's like raining and all that stuff.
Students at the French language school have been learning in portable classrooms for years. This fall, an 8th portable was added, and along with it, 2 portable toilets.
I wouldn't say they're the best, but they're not the worst.
The French Public School Board says it understands that parents are frustrated, but the toilets were required in order to get an occupancy permit for the new portable classroom, and that this isn't a permanent solution, saying in a statement, "This measure remains temporary. We will soon have some very good news to share regarding the construction of a new school that will provide a sustainable solution to the growing needs of the Louise Arbor school community."
I think it's really discouraging. The school is overcrowded. The facility is completely outdated. And obviously, a lot of the parents were really excited that a new school is coming. But the point is that's years away, and the kids have to be in this school.
The portable washrooms have heating and air conditioning, electricity, and running water. The board also says there are washrooms available to students inside the school. The school board is building a new $14.5 million school for Louise Arbor students, set to open at Somerset and Preston in Little Italy in 2027. Meantime, people nearby who don't even have a child at the school wonder about the outdoor toilets.
I think it's just insane that they have to go these porta potties outside where they play. Like, this is insane. It's a school. They're kids.
The portable units have 2 toilets per trailer, and they're frequently emptied 2 or 3 times a week. And while parents may be frustrated, the board says it has no plans to reconsider. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
Now, some may not like it, but Saugeen Beach is here to stay.
You're holding your breath for such a long time, and it's like once you get the noose, it's just like a breath of fresh air and less restriction.
The Supreme Court of Canada has dismissed a request from the town of South Bruce Peninsula to appeal the decision that granted a section of valuable shoreline in Saugeen Beach to the Saugeen First Nation. In April of 2023, the Ontario Court of Appeal granted the Saugeen First Nation ownership of about 2.5 kilometers of sandy beach, stretching from Saugeen Beach's Main Street north to 6th Street. The case was first brought before the courts 35 years ago, but it was nearly a century ago when Indigenous leaders claimed an 1854 treaty deeded ownership of the disputed shoreline to them.
That's how resilient and patient our people have been to feel finally heard and seen and validated.
Denying the leave to appeal means the town of South Bruce Peninsula and a small collection of private landowners have seemingly exhausted all legal avenues to retain ownership of the beach. That was controversially renamed Saugeen Beach by the Saugeen First Nation on Canada Day.
It kind of grooms society. It kind of grooms community. It kind of grooms children when you have a colonial lane that's supposed to be the indigenous people of that land and beach.
Contacted by CTV News Today, South Bruce Peninsula representatives said they wouldn't have anything to say about the Supreme Court's decision until after their next council meeting on September the 2nd. Ritchie says now the legal wrangling over who owns Saugeen Beach appears to be done. Compensation from the federal government for breaking the 1854 treaty can be discussed. He hopes that can be resolved outside of court. As far as the beach goes, Ritchie says Saugeen Beach will continue to be a tourist destination open to the public, attracting millions of visitors each summer.
Now we all have an obligation, a duty to protect this land and this water and making sure that it's still here for future generations.
For those confused, Ritchie says Saugeen Beach remains the name of the popular beachside town, which is still owned and operated by the town of South Bruce Peninsula, but the beach will be called Saugeen Beach now that it is in Saugeen First Nation control. In Saugeen Beach, Scott Miller, CTV News.
In a matter of seconds, a thick fog floods this Ancaster jewelry store. It's a taste of what could happen in the event of an armed robbery.
If the hold-up button is pushed, they automatically disperse for 30 seconds with a non-toxic water vapor.
Owner Jean-Pierre Verbunt installed the anti-theft measure after a violent smash and grab last December.
They did smash almost every case in the store. I spent the night in the hospital, got a CT scan, lots of damage to my face from hammers and punching.
The store's new system acts as smoke and mirrors, clouding criminals' vision and deterring them from finishing the job.
You can't see your hand in front of your face, so you can't steal what you can't see.
You just want to do anything you can to try and delay them and slow them down. It's not like we're trying to, incapacitate them or something. We just want to give the police time to get here.
The owner here at Ancaster Jewelers says he knows security systems won't put a stop to all armed robberies or guarantee it won't happen again. But he says he's hopeful the new measures will deter criminals from striking his store.
It's really to stop yourself from being the low-lying fruit and put yourself a little higher in the tree.
The device is often used in stores overseas, but since it came to Canada, it's billowed in popularity.
Jewelry stores, some higher-end retail, private residences, and then some retail applications where they're looking to protect specific assets.
The price for the added layer of protection starts at $1,500, but Verbunt says the smokescreen and security measures in general are worth every penny.
Show all the bad guys that we have this passive resistance that's going to hopefully stop you from even trying.
Alexandra Hollig, CTV News, Ancaster.
On a Thursday afternoon in Morden, there's nowhere else Rose Weed would rather be than relaxing by Lake Minnewansta.
Spring, summer, fall, I just love it.
But Thursday, there was something extra to watch out for in the water. The province of Manitoba's website lists Lake Minnewansta as one of 6 beaches where algal samples exceed acceptable safe levels to swim. Algal toxin levels have exceeded 20 micrograms per liter in the lake, and now advisory signs have been posted nearby advising residents not to drink, swim, or make contact with the water.
I swam yesterday. I got a little bit green, but nothing major, and I just showered. I was fine, right? I don't drink the water, but I could swim around in it.
Weeb says this is the first time this year the water has been a murky green color, and overall she feels the lake hasn't been too badly hit by algal blooms. However, Morden Mayor Nancy Penner says after frequently warm weather, it's not the first time the lake has looked like this.
Often at this time of year, the end of August, we get some heat, we get some temperature, we get nutrient load in the lake, and we get an algae bloom.
The mayor says there is no concern for Morden residents drinking the treated water from the lake. That is the city's primary source of drinking water. She says the city wants help from the province to mitigate the growth of algal blooms.
We are waiting on provincial approval to bring in an ultrasonic system that will hopefully deal with the algae blooms. Hopefully we'll have something in place for April of 2026.
Lake Minnewaska isn't the only beach dealing with algae right now. There are 6 others, including Sandy Lake, Pelican Lake North, and Delta Beach. Still, Weeb wants to enjoy the last remaining days of her summer and won't stay away from the lake.
It's warm and we're heading towards school and it's not as crowded. So I love to come now, and especially with the weather being what it is.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Morden.